Good morning. Welcome to NewsWare's Trade Talk for Tuesday, August 25th. Okay, let's get into the action. S&Ps were up by 0.45% this morning. Positive opening. Tech is trading a little higher, which is good to see. The basis for that really is you got NVIDIA's earnings coming out tomorrow after the bell, so we're seeing some positive action there. Oil prices moving lower. You know, those new sanctions announcement that came out yesterday from Treasury Secretary Bessent, they're rather light on details. But it's unlikely to disrupt any oil flows out of the Middle East. I mean, for the fact that it remains that it's not an escalation of military conflict. It's really just more sanctions, and they're kind of toothless. But Pakistan did meet with Iranian officials yesterday, and they came out of those talks and described the talks as being positive. On the economic front, the key economic data point for today is going to be that consumer confidence report. It's coming out after the opening bell. In corporate news, B of A is out there this morning saying that the risk-reward outlook for semiconductors remain positive despite near-term pressure. We got Corning and Zayo expanding their strategic supply agreement. We got Apple preparing a new launch of Mac mini desktop computers. VIPS announced a new 1 billion share repurchasing program. On the earnings front, BNS is trading higher while BMO is lower. This afternoon, we're going to get earnings announcements from Intuit, Zoom Communications, Symantec, SMTC, and Box, BOX. And tomorrow morning, you got Williams-Sonoma, you got SJ Smuckers, you got Abercrombie and Fitch, and BBWI, along with Kohl's, KSS, and DY, all scheduled to release tomorrow morning. Okay, now we're going to take a look over at Europe. We're going to see the action overseas, and we're looking at the DAX, which is up 213 points, or 0.82%. You know, they had positive economic data. Germany's GDP grew 0.3%, which was positive. In London, the FTSE's up 0.17%. Defense and aerospace shares are strong performers. The CAC in Paris is up 0.36%. You know, the consumer confidence remained unchanged at 86, which is below the 100 reading. But aerospace shares are showing some gains this morning in Europe, and that's positive. We're looking over at Asia, and we're looking at the Nikkei, which climbed 0.50% overnight. Positive action in tech and AI-related shares. Hong Kong was flat. It fell 0.02%. Financial shares were mainly positive as you got a host of IPOs coming out in Hong Kong. In China, the Shanghai Composite was higher by 0.19%. And, you know, you got that National People's Congress Standing Committee meetings going on. And, the markets are expecting some sort of stimulus or fiscal support to be announced. So they were positive. And then we look at oil this morning. Oil is down hard. I mean, we got WTI at $81.90, down 3.66%. You got Brent at 89.05, down 3.39%, under 90. Wow. Traders are viewing the economic campaign as less disruptive past the military escalation. That's true, and it's going to, avoid any global supplies concerns, and that's what's causing oil to drop this morning. And then after the bell, you get the API data that's due out. So we got a lot of catalysts going on there in oil right now. Now we're taking a look at earnings, and we're going to start off with Dick's Sporting Goods. That's ticker DKS. The report was not good. The stock is down 16.91% this morning. They missed by 23 cents on lower revenue. But then there's a Bank of Nova Scotia, BNS, Boy Nancy Sam. Stock's up over 2% this morning. They beat by 20 cents on higher revenue in Canadian dollars. So that's positive. Upcoming, we got Zoom Communications, ticker ZM, Zebra Michael. Their EPS is $1.50. Expected move is 8.54%. Get into it, INTU. Their EPS is $3.59. Expected move is 8.08 when they release. In terms of economic reports, at 9 a.m. you get the Case-Shiller Home Price Index. 10 a.m. you got new home sales. 10 a.m. you get consumer confidence. And then, of course, at 4:30 p.m. we get the API inventory report. Now, Richmond Fed Bank President Thomas Barkin, he's going to speak this morning at 8 a.m. and then again at 4 p.m. this afternoon. In terms of stocks hitting the tape this morning, Apple prepares to launch a new Mac mini desktop computer. Amazon, over the weekend, they raised their prices on their hardware devices, jacking them up by as much as 60% in some cases. We're talking Fire TV, Echoes, Kindles, and so on. Meta plans to roll out Hatch AI agent in the next several weeks. Netflix is said to be considering adding streamers to compete with YouTube and Roku. Tesla, Cybertruck, raised prices by $5,000 per vehicle in the U.S. In terms of Dow Jones 30 stocks, Amazon AWS is introducing AWS Glue 6.0 for faster, more cost-effective data integration. Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Citi, and others, they're facing subpoenas over that AI hedge fund situational awareness. The guy had big bets on AI stocks, and he took a beating in July, and they had to sell hard. It happens. NVIDIA's in talks with Perplexity about an investment. They're evaluating the company at $30 billion. In terms of merger news, MKC, McKesson to acquire Precision Medicine Group for about $2.25 billion. In terms of guidance, Dick's Sporting Goods cut its full year 2026 guidance EPS to $11 to $12. Street estimate had it at $14. That's a big downtick. In terms of buybacks, VIPS, VIP Shop, they announced a new $1 billion share repurchasing program. Okay, now for my pick of the day. I'm going to go with Zoom Communications, ticker ZM, Zebra Michael. Earnings are out after the bell. EPS is $1.50. Expected move is 8.54%. Yesterday's call volume, 88,027 versus 79,083. That's a 0.90 put to call ratio. Positive. Open interest though is 208K versus 108K. That's very positive. Major brokers are raising price targets for Zoom Communications ZM, so I do like it. In terms of an entry price, I'm looking at the stock this morning, and I'd hope to get in around 103.75 area. It's currently 103.33 to 104, so 103.50, 103.75 is a fair price. I think if you can get in at that price, you'll get that 1% during the trading day today. But that's my pick of the day, Zoom Communications, ticker ZM. Okay, let's take a look at the news hitting the tape over the last 15 minutes, so see if we see anything exciting. Dick's Sporting Goods gets $59 million in tariff refunds. Trump's threatening to rename Lake Ontario due to its spat with Canada. Six Flags to relocate its headquarters to Arlington, Texas. United plans the biggest international expansion yet with help from Airbus jets. Google Cloud launches Gemini Enterprise for legal in preview. All right, that's all I'm seeing this morning. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about yesterday's pick of the day, which was Bank of Nova Scotia, ticker BNS. Stock opened up 87.41. Now, I was saying 86.50, and it did fall down. I mean, it fell to 85.97, but it closed at 86.86. And then this morning, you look at the stock, BNS, and it's trading 88.56, 88.60 on the bid. So, yeah, your 1% is definitely there, whether you get in at the opening price or at my suggested entry price. The 1% was definitely there. So, BNS, Bank of Nova Scotia, was a winner. All right, traders, that concludes today's NewsWare's Trade Talk podcast. You know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.